Just when you think you've got a handle on what AI can do for your business, boom, Microsoft drops another huge Copilot upgrade.
Yeah, they really shook things up this time.
Yeah, and this isn't just like, a few tweaks under the hood or something.
No, no, no.
This feels like
A whole different ballgame.
yeah, it really does. And we're talking about implications for how enterprises can really leverage AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you almost have to forget what you think you know about AI assistance,
Right.
right? It's not just incremental improvements. This is
Yeah.
a fundamental shift.
Like a reimagining of how it all works.
Exactly.
So today we're going deep on these new Copilot capabilities, and luckily we've got the insights of Rejaith Krishnan to guide us.
Oh, he's the perfect person to talk to about this.
Oh, absolutely. He's the founder and CEO of LowTouch.ai.
And he's been right there on the front lines of actually using AI to transform businesses.
Exactly. So he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, his perspective is really invaluable for this.
So he's been breaking down this upgrade, and he sees three major pillars. A big move towards what's called agentic AI,
Okay.
much deeper personalization, and get this, a really fascinating new way to consume information.
Oh, wow. I'm intrigued.
AI-generated audio.
Oh, wow.
So our mission today is to look beyond the hype and the bullet points and really understand why this is a big deal.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, so first let's unpack this whole idea of how Copilot is evolving.
Okay, so the big story here is that Copilot's moving from like this helpful chatbot to more of a proactive partner.
Like from passive to active, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that's really got everyone buzzing is this emergence of agentic AI.
Okay. Agentic AI, what exactly is that?
So it's not just answering your questions or, scheduling your meetings. It's about the AI taking initiative and actually
Wow.
automating workflows, driving business value on its own.
Okay, so it's anticipating needs and then taking action.
Right, like think of it as less of a reactive tool and more of a
Right.
partner that's actually making things happen.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And, Rejaith actually brought up Mustafa Suleyman's vision for Microsoft AI.
Right.
And this idea of an autonomous, action-oriented AI assistant, it seems like that's a core part of what Suleyman's aiming for.
Yeah, it makes sense. His background is in building these really intelligent autonomous systems.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been really vocal about making AI that can truly understand and act in the world. So
this is kind of a natural progression.
yeah, and it's a direction that really aligns with what LowTouch.ai has been doing all along.
So they're on the same page here.
Yeah, Rejaith really emphasizes that their focus has always been on empowering enterprises to automate even these super complex processes using AI,
Right.
but without needing a team of coders to make it happen.
So kind of democratizing that access to AI.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get down to the nuts and bolts here. What are these enhanced agent capabilities that everybody's talking about?
All right, so this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Rejaith is super excited about this.
Yeah.
He sees it as like a major step towards making agentic AI the standard for businesses.
Okay, so what can these new agents actually do?
Well, there are a few key areas where they've really leveled up.
Okay.
First, you've got automated task completion.
Okay.
So now these Copilot agents can directly plug into a company's Power Automate flows.
Power Automate flows? Remind me what those are again.
Sure, so think of them like pre-built workflows for all those everyday tasks that businesses have to do,
Got it.
like scheduling a meeting room,
Mm-hmm.
submitting a support ticket, stuff like that.
Right. Routine stuff.
Exactly. So instead of just giving you suggestions, the Copilot agent can now actually trigger these flows
Okay.
and automatically complete those tasks with like almost no human involvement.
Okay, so give me an example. Like, let's say you've got a sales team and they're constantly booking meeting rooms for client demos.
Yeah,
Could Copilot just handle all of that?
exactly. You just tell Copilot what you need and it takes care of the whole booking process.
So no more messing around with calendars and room availability.
Right, and that's just one example.
That's huge, though, because that's a lot of time saved.
It is, and it frees up your team to focus on more important things.
Exactly.
And then building on that, you've got task chaining.
Okay, what is that?
So this lets Copilot link a bunch of related tasks together into one smooth workflow,
Oh.
all starting from a single command.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, you could tell Copilot to onboard a new team member,
Right.
and it would automatically create their account, give them access to the right files, add them to the team chat, you name it.
Wow, so it's like automating a whole process.
Yeah, and you only have to give it one instruction.
That's incredible. I mean, think about all the time and effort that saves.
Exactly, and it reduces the chance of errors too,
Yep.
because everything's happening automatically.
Right.
And then there's custom agent support.
Right.
This is part of Microsoft 365 Copilot.
Okay.
This lets businesses build their own AI agents that are specifically designed for their needs.
So it's not just one size fits all.
No, not at all. And Rejive made a really good comparison here to lowtouch.ai.
Okay.
They also have a no-code platform that lets businesses create custom AI agents.
Okay, so it's kind of a similar approach.
Exactly. So you could have an agent that's trained on your company's HR policies,
Okay.
or one that helps with a really specific internal process, whatever makes sense for your business.
So if your HR team gets bombarded with questions about vacation time, they can just have a Copilot agent handle those basic inquiries.
Right, exactly. It frees them up to deal with the more complex stuff.
Makes sense.
And the best part is these agents aren't limited to just the Microsoft environment.
Oh, really?
They're branching out into other communication channels like WhatsApp and SharePoint.
Oh, wow. So it's really meeting people where they are.
Yeah, so if you've got a lot of employees who mainly use WhatsApp, they can now access all these AI-powered tools right within that app.
That's really smart because it just makes it so much easier for people to use it.
And Rejiz points out that lowtouch.ai has seen some really impressive results using this kind of agentic AI.
Okay. Like in what areas?
Well, they've been automating customer support, optimizing IT operations, all sorts of things. And he sees these new Copilot features as like a confirmation that they're on the right track.
Okay, so the more these agents can do on their own, the more valuable they become to businesses.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about agents automating tasks, but what about stringing those automations together to create a bigger impact?
Right, so that's the next level of sophistication.
Okay.
Imagine a customer service scenario where a Copilot agent can automatically look up a customer's order history check inventory for a replacement and then actually start the shipping process.
Wow, all from one customer request.
Exactly. It's that kind of interconnected automation that can really revolutionize how businesses operate.
Okay, so that leads to huge efficiency gains and happier customers.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something completely different, but equally intriguing, this whole Copilot as a personal podcast producer thing.
Oh, yeah, this is a really cool
When
development.
I first heard about it, I was like, what?
It's a total game changer. It changes how we think about consuming information.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this.
So it all starts with podcast generation. Basically, Copilot can create custom audio summaries based on your interests.
So it's like having a personal AI DJ for information.
Yeah, kind of. So if you need to stay up to date on industry trends or get a quick briefing on a project, Copilot can just create a podcast episode just for you.
So instead of reading a bunch of articles or reports, I can just listen to a podcast while I'm commuting or working out.
Exactly. It's all about making it easier to consume information.
That's brilliant.
And it goes even further than that with digital library curation.
Okay, what's that?
So Copilot can actually pull relevant audio from all your different sources, like files, emails, web pages, and put it together into one seamless listening experience.
So it's like having an AI that organizes all the information I need and then presents it to me in an easy-to-digest audio format.
Exactly. And this is going to be a game changer for busy professionals who need to absorb a ton of information quickly.
Yeah, I can see that, especially for people who are always on the go.
Right. And Rejath really emphasized this idea of complex information delivery. So imagine you've got a really dense technical document or a long report. Copilot can turn that into an audio summary that's actually easy to understand.
So it's making complex information accessible to a wider audience.
Exactly. And this could have huge implications for training programs or even just keeping stakeholders informed.
Yeah, it's a much more engaging way to learn and stay up to date.
And with mobile accessibility, it's like having a knowledge assistant right in your earbuds.
So I can learn and stay informed no matter where I am.
Exactly. Rajat is super enthusiastic about this feature. He sees it as a really innovative way to make AI insights actionable.
Yeah, and it aligns perfectly with lowtouch.ai's focus on making AI practical and user-friendly.
Exactly.
So they're all about making AI work for people.
Yeah. And Rajat gave some really interesting examples, like imagine an IT team getting audio alerts about system issues or customer service reps getting quick briefings on a client's history before a call.
That's really smart because it means they can access critical information without having to interrupt their workflow.
Exactly. It's all about delivering the right information in the right format at the right time.
Makes sense. Okay, now let's dive into personalization.
Okay, so this is another area where these updates are really impressive.
Microsoft's put a big emphasis on making AI more tailored to the individual user.
Yeah, and one of the key features here is the memory feature.
Okay, what does that do?
So Copilot can now remember your individual preferences, like your favorite settings, important dates, even past projects you've worked on.
So it's getting to know me and how I work.
Exactly. And in a business context, this means Copilot can remember your preferred workflows, key contacts, even recurring issues you've encountered.
So it's like having an assistant who knows my habits and can anticipate my needs.
Yeah, that's the idea. It's all about making Copilot feel less like a generic tool and more like a personalized assistant.
That makes a lot of sense.
But of course, with all this personalization comes the need for really strong privacy controls.
Absolutely, that's essential.
Rejath really stressed the importance of user privacy control. He said users will have total control over what Copilot remembers and how that information is used.
That's good to hear because data privacy is obviously a huge concern for businesses.
Yeah, especially for companies that deal with sensitive information.
Right.
And he actually compared this to LowTouch.ai's commitment to data security.
Okay.
They often offer on-premise AI deployment options, which gives businesses complete control over their data environment.
So it's all about giving users the power to decide how their data is used.
Exactly. And beyond individual preferences, Copilot is also getting some really advanced website monitoring capabilities.
Okay, what does that mean?
So you can set it up to track changes on specific websites that are important to your business,
Okay.
and then it'll proactively notify you about any updates.
So give me an example, like how would a business actually use this?
Well, let's say you want to track your competitors' pricing changes.
Okay.
Copilot can monitor their websites and send you an alert as soon as their prices change.
That's incredible because it means you can react quickly and stay ahead of the competition.
Exactly. And it's not just about pricing. You can monitor regulatory updates, industry news, anything that's relevant to your business.
So it's like having a team of researchers constantly scanning the web for you.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you've got automated transactions.
Okay, what's that?
So Copilot's getting better and better at handling tasks that involve completing transactions,
Like what?
like booking travel reservations, buying tickets for events, things like that.
So it's taking care of all the tedious stuff that nobody wants to do.
Exactly. And this frees up your employees to focus on more strategic work.
Makes sense.
And all of these personalization features, they really align with LowTouch.ai's core design principles.
How so?
Well, their platform is built to adapt to real-time inputs and learn from every interaction.
So it's constantly getting smarter and more effective.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but let's zoom out for a second.
Okay.
Why are these updates so important for businesses?
Well, there are a few key takeaways.
Yeah.
First, the enhanced agent capabilities. They really pave the way for automation at scale.
Okay.
So these agents can handle more complex tasks, they can string together multiple actions,
Right.
and this means businesses can automate more of their operations, and that frees up their employees to focus on more strategic work.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And Rejaith connected this directly to the no-code automation approach that LowTouch.ai is known for.
Right. So they're both empowering businesses to do more with less.
Exactly.
Okay. What else?
Well, these updates also have huge implications for customer experience.
Okay. How so?
Well, the combination of personalized audio updates and AI agents that can interact across multiple channels, that's a recipe for creating really engaging and tailored customer interactions.
So it's about making customers feel valued and understood.
Exactly. And imagine an AI that not only answers your questions, but also proactively delivers valuable insights to you.
Yeah, that would be pretty impressive.
And then there's IT optimization. So the website monitoring capabilities can provide early warnings about potential problems.
Okay.
And the automated transaction features can streamline a lot of those routine IT tasks.
So it's about preventing problems before they happen and making everything run more smoothly.
Exactly. And Rejaith actually mentioned that LowTouch.ai has AI-driven SRE agents.
What are those?
They're agents specifically designed to manage and optimize IT infrastructure.
So they're like AI IT specialists.
Yeah, basically.
That's pretty cool. And finally, we have employee empowerment.
Yeah, so by automating those repetitive tasks and giving employees access to information in easily digestible formats like podcasts,
Right.
these updates can free up employees to focus on more creative and strategic work.
So it's about making work more meaningful and less tedious.
Exactly, and this is really at the heart of what LowTouch.ai is all about.
Yeah, they want to empower people to do their best work.
And Rejaith made a really important point. He said that Microsoft's big investment in Agentic AI,
Right.
it validates what LowTouch.ai has been working towards all along.
So it shows that they're on the right track.
Yeah, it's a sign that the industry as a whole is moving towards more intelligent and autonomous AI.
Okay, so how does lowtouch.ai specifically fit into all of this?
Well, Regieth highlighted a few key areas of synergy.
Okay.
First, there's no-code simplicity, so just like Copilot's custom agent feature,
Right.
lowtouch.ai lets businesses build their own AI agents without writing any code.
So it's making AI development accessible to everyone.
Exactly. And then there's secure and private deployment.
Okay.
So lowtouch.ai often lets businesses run their AI agents on their own infrastructure.
So they have complete control over their data.
Exactly. And this aligns with Copilot's focus on user privacy controls.
Makes sense.
And then there's real-time adaptability.
Okay.
So lowtouch.ai's agents are designed to learn and improve with every interaction, just like Copilot's memory feature.
So they're constantly evolving and getting better?
Exactly. And they also offer integration-ready capabilities so their agents can connect with all sorts of existing business applications and APIs.
So it's all about seamless integration with your existing systems.
Yeah, and Regieth also mentioned their Generative AI for Professionals course.
Oh, right. I've heard about that.
It's specifically designed to help businesses upskill their workforce and embrace these new AI technologies.
So they're not just providing the technology, they're also helping businesses prepare for the future.
Exactly.
Okay, so looking ahead, what should our listeners be paying attention to as this technology continues to evolve?
Well, Regieth was careful to point out that these are still early days for these new Copilot features.
You're right.
It'll be interesting to see how they actually perform in real-world business settings.
Yeah, we need to see how effective the agents are, how useful the podcast generation feature is, all of that.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But the big takeaway here is that Microsoft is making a clear and significant push towards this idea of agentic AI personalized experiences and innovative information delivery.
Yeah, it feels like a major turning point in the evolution of AI assistants.
Exactly. And for businesses, this is a sign that they need to start thinking seriously about how agentic AI can transform their operations.
Should they be looking at Microsoft's ecosystem or platforms like lowtouch.ai or both?
Well, that's a question each business will have to answer for themselves.
Right, depends on their specific needs and goals.
Exactly. But Regieth's team at lowtouch.ai is already brainstorming some really interesting integrations.
Oh, like what?
Well, one idea is an agent that automatically generates podcast summaries of critical IT alerts.
So instead of getting bombarded with emails and notifications,
Yeah, the IT team could just listen to a quick podcast that summarizes the most important issues.
that's a really clever idea.
And it shows that the possibilities are really endless.
Yeah, this technology has the potential to change everything.
It really does.
So as we wrap up here, I want to leave our listeners with a question.
Okay.
Given all these advancements in AI, how do you think this technology is going to reshape the way you and your organization work in the years to come?
It's a question worth pondering.
It really is, because the future of work is changing right before our eyes.
AI is going to be a big part of that.
Absolutely. So I encourage everyone to explore these concepts further and think about how they can leverage these new tools to create a better future for themselves and their organizations.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be working in this field.
It really is, and who knows what amazing new developments are just around the corner.
I can't wait to find out.
Me too.
Thanks for having me on the show today.
It was great having you.
It's been a really stimulating conversation.
Yeah, this is definitely a topic that we'll be revisiting as things progress.
I look forward to it.
All right, that's it for this deep dive into Microsoft's latest Copilot upgrade. Thanks for listening.